Alright, so here we're going to replace the 4S power button that doesn't click. First thing I do is clean the phone because people are nasty, and so is their. Now when I take the screws out of the phone, I like to take them out of the phone in the order that they go back into the phone, so that I know where they go. The common question is, how do you know where all those screws go? And my standard answer is, I have no idea. That's why I place them exactly as they go into the phone. So that putting them back in is simply following the pattern that I've made for myself. So don't put all the screws from the phone everywhere into a little bag. You'll be fucked later. So first thing I do after I remove the 2 screws for the bottom and slide the back off is take out the battery. Now to get to the power button, I have to remove the motherboard of the phone. So we're gonna take this out next here. I don't exactly have the best camera angle here, and you could probably tell that I'm no cameraman, so I'm gonna be reaching over the board from funny angles to get this done, so that you can see everything. Now this is an iPhone 4S. One thing that makes it different from the 4 that's on AT&T, this here, it's a speaker, it's got the antenna attached to it and all sorts of shit. This little plastic piece here that holds it down on the left, it's very easy to lose this little, let me see if I can zoom in a little. It's very easy to lose this little piece of shit, so be careful when you're taking it out. Again, sorry, not a cameraman. Hey, what can I do for you?
Hi, one question. I not speak English very well. I try to understand it. Okay? I need open one phone. One iPhone, unlock.
Unlock?
Yeah.
Try the Western Union guy. He's 1 block down. We don't do any unlock.
You know?
No. Western Union, 1 block.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Right over here, this thing clips onto the board. And if you're not careful, you can fuck up the power button. In this case, we don't really have to care because, we're going to be replacing that cable anyway. See this it hooks around. See this? It's tricky. Now, when you unplug these things, be very careful to use your nail to just enough to take the camera out, not enough that you're going to be ripping these little resistors and the occasional capacitor off of the board. It's very easy to just dig your nail under each one of these and shove them out if you're doing 10 or 15 a day. But if you do that, you're going to eventually rip the resistor off of the board that powers the front or the back camera. And you're going to have one pissed off customer if you don't know how to solder it back on. be careful when lifting up this antenna that you don't lift the connector off the board, because if you do, again, you will be fucked. Also, don't take the board out without taking the SIM card out. I forgot to make special mention of it. See this little black cover over here? On the iPhone 4S and the 4 that are on Sprint or Verizon, you have this little piece of tape that's the exact same color as the board, and what do you know? There's a screw hole under here. You know, just hiding and waiting for you to rip the entire board up. It's very nice of Apple to do that. But yeah, see, there's a screw hole over here. You don't take the board out without removing that screw. And the screw, yes, the screw is hidden under tape that is the same fucking color as the board. Yep. This phone is Apple's kicking the balls to repair technicians. Alrighty. Now have all your cables out of the way as you remove the board. If you're removing the board and you feel like there's resistance, please stop. That's probably your SIM card or a screw that you didn't take out, and you're just going to wind up fucking yourself if you wind up pulling it as hard as you can to get it out. This little battery thing is half of the time is going to rip as you remove it. Be careful not to puncture the battery. Best case scenario, it just fizzes a little. Worst case scenario, it explodes in your face. And you wind up that repair shop that's on the news from the something with the Australian Airlines not recommending non-Apple certified centers because of this phone that blew up when it had the battery replaced. Alright, so you don't really even need to take the battery out for this. I just like to have room for my hands to work. So this is going to be our cable, and it is wrapped around the earpiece. And there is this little plastic clip. Here we go. It never comes off that easy. I swear to God, I did not open this phone prior to this repair. It never comes off that easy. That's just God shining down upon me today. See this thing over here? This power button cable goes from here to here. It wraps around the earpiece and then it plugs into the motherboard of the phone. Now, this is the proximity sensor and also the light sensor. This is what tells the phone to turn off when you put it to your face. And your cheek covers it, it doesn't see light. And when it doesn't see light, it turns off. Now this keeps the proximity sensor in place. It is such a pain in the ass to remove in so many occasions that point being, when you're removing this, make sure that it doesn't fly off somewhere, because you'll be stuck trying to find some other piece of plastic or layers of cushiony tape to get it to fit, to get this to fit back properly. So be very careful and patient when you push it out and put it in a nice secure place where you know you're not going to lose it. Also, be careful when you're removing the screws from this little piece here that holds the power button in place. Because in order to get the screwdriver in there, you got to go around the screen ribbon cable. And if you fuck up the screen ribbon cable, you no longer have a working screen. So be patient. Fold things over the way you need to. I believe the screwdriver is nearing the end of its useful life. Alright. Again, take your time to push things out of the way that you don't need in front of you. The more flustered you are while doing any of these things, the more likely you are to fuck them up. Now you have the luxury of being able to rip this cable because it's a cable you're replacing, but it's just a good habit and good practice to get into to try to rip the least amount of shit while you're inside of a cell phone. So just for good practice, I try not to rip the cable, even though it would be fun. Woohoo! Now the power button is wrapped around the earpiece, this little cable, and then it also goes around this little black thingy that gets screwed into the frame thingy that the button touches. So we take this off. Again, extra points if you could peel off the old power button cable without ripping it. It's just good practice. Each one of these cables has a number on it, so if you're unsure as to what to order, because if you're ordering this crap off eBay, it's so easy to get the wrong one, look at the number. So this one's 821-1467-A, and order by the number. Don't order iPhone 4 power button, iPhone Verizon power button. Just order based on the number. Makes life a lot easier and less painful. Now you're going to see that on this power button thingy, piece of plastic, that there are dots and holes that allow you to line up the power button properly. Now, this thing's still going to click even if it's not aligned properly, don't get me wrong, but if you want it to feel the same way the original one did, and God knows in this neighborhood it needs to feel the same way the original one did, you want to align it just right. And there's all these little bits of adhesive that you get to peel off so that you could wrap the thing around 50 million times. There we go. If you're like me, you'll spend half of your time looking for the tools that are right in front of you and half the time doing the actual repair. After you've screwed it in as hard as you can, click it, make sure it works. It should feel even all throughout the button. Again, trust me, if you don't do this now, you'll get reamed out for it later. Alright, time to put Humpty Dumpty back together. more little random pieces of adhesive. The old earpiece uses this adhesive. I'm not 100% sure if this is VHB. It's adhesive I don't like called VHB because it's foam all throughout and it only has adhesive on the ends, the edge, like on the bottom and the top of it, and everything in between is not sticky. What sucks about this is that that VHB adhesive always breaks apart in the middle. So every time you're separating it, you're essentially losing everything that made it sticky. So the earpiece can be a bitch because of the adhesive that it uses. It's different than the adhesive used in other parts of the iPhone. Yep. Hate VHB. Can't. One of the ways that you can tell if you got a good power flex or if you got a bullshit one is if your proximity sensor flex when you look at it in the light. If it actually looks like something that can tell when light is looking at it, or if it's just some crappy piece of plastic. And also, you'll be able to tell when you put the thing back in the phone, and there's no proximity sensor when you make a phone call. If you got a good one, or if you got a piece of shit. Sometimes this goes into the right place instantly, and sometimes you have to mess with it for a minute to get it into the right place. Get it into the right place, even if it takes you some time. Because if this is not in the right place, it won't be directly in front of the shaded portions of the screen. If it's not directly in front of the shaded portions of the screen, the proximity sensor won't work, and if it doesn't work, you can't get paid. Pop it in there. Make sure it's nice and secure. Make sure your cable routing is decent. Do your best to put the cables back where they're supposed to go along the phone. And there are hints. There are little lines of adhesive left on the phone from where you removed the old cable. Try to get the cable to follow. See this little rubber piece here? In my personal experience, this thing it's really easy to put the board back in a manner where this bumps against the LCD cable and does bad things to it. So I like to discard that thing. You don't have to, but I like to discard. It's up to you. If the screw holes don't line up when you're putting the thing back together, if they don't even if they're it's almost all the way lined up, and you can kind of screw it in, but they're not fully lined up, don't put the board back together, because it means that it's flexing in an area. It's a pain in the ass to get this board to sit in properly sometimes, but that's an area where you really got to take the time to do it right. Let's put our mystery screw back in. Almost done.
Right?
Yeah, kind of. Now each one of these cables here has a piece of tape on it. That's so that if the phone drops, it won't pop up off the board. So these don't come with that attached, so I'm going to add my own. Now, since every screw is laid out where it's supposed to go, putting them all back in will be very easy. Hey, what can I do for you?
I need to replace the front screen.
Let me see what you have.
Huh?
You have all the luck.
I have all the luck, yes. Well, these are old phones that I have that I want to sell, so. That one needs to be And then this one is just the touch screen that doesn't work, or it'll work sometimes, and then it'll stop working.
Oh, give me 1 minute. Is the water damage one the one where the touchscreen only works half the time?
This one, yeah.
Alright. Water didn't come from a toilet, did it?
Huh?
The water didn't come from the toilet, did it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Back up.